resto de las ponencias serán en inglés, canal 1 para inglés, canal 2 para el español. Y voy a empezar yo ya con esta sesión plenaria, mientras los demás vais entrando y saliendo, no pasa nada. Durante los días anteriores, 3 días anteriores a celebrarse este congreso, la octava reunión de la Red Global de Información sobre Áridos, GAIN ha convertido a España, a Andalucía y a Córdoba en la capital mundial de la industria. Delegados de 45 países que representan el 75% de la producción mundial de áridos, se han reunido en intensas sesiones de trabajo para tratar y hablar sobre ese futuro de la industria y fijar estrategias para que siga siendo la industria de materias primas más importante del planeta. El alma mater del GAIN, su presidente y querido amigo de la Federación de Áridos, Mr. Jim O'Brien, expresidente y ahora presidente de honor de Aggregates Europe, el nuevo nombre de la UEPG, nos hablará en unos momentos de las principales conclusiones del encuentro y de las tendencias del sector de los áridos en todo el mundo. Welcome, Mr. O'Brien. También tenemos, lo están viendo ustedes, a Mr. Antoniou Latouros, presidente de Aggregates Europe, principal empresario chipriota y también un excelente amigo que nos va a hacer una evaluación de la situación actual de la industria europea de áridos y hacia dónde debe dirigirse en el marco de todos los acontecimientos que nos están rodeando. Yasu, Kyrie Latouros. Y completando esta sesión, no necesita presentación, pero lo voy a hacer, César Luaces Frades, es el director general de la Federación de Áridos, digo yo que todo el mundo lo conoce, y en el congreso pasado, en el año 2022, se presentó entonces el plan estratégico Áridos 2030. Desde entonces pues ha habido multitud de cuestiones de toda índole pues, que han modificado el marco en el que se tiene que desenvolver la industria en nuestro país. Él, como coordinador de esa estrategia, nos va a hacer una rápida valoración del grado de avance que se ha alcanzado. Y sin más, voy a ceder la palabra a Mr. Jim O'Brien, que nos presentará hacia dónde avanzan los áridos en el mundo, conclusiones del GAIN 2025. Cuando quiera, Mr. O'Brien.
Gracias.
Pueden aplaudir, si quieren, anímense.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear presidents and friends of the aggregates industry globally. I hope I have something to move the slides. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to present very briefly the results of our GAIN meeting that took place here in Córdoba over the last 2 days. Gracias. What happens? Oh yeah. GAIN, as you probably know, is the Global Aggregates Information Network. We are a friendly grouping of all the aggregates associations of the world. And you can see on the map that we have 20 members now in all 6 continents of the world. And believe it or not, we represent 75% of the global aggregates industry. And we have a website called gain.ie in which you can see more information. Which one is this? I really don't know. Which way does this work? The big one? Not work. There we go. We have, GAIN was founded in 2010, and in the beginning we had meetings every 2 years. And you can see from the photographs that GAIN has gradually grown from an initial membership of just 5 different countries. Now it represents many more. And we've had meetings where we get incredible synergy from the different countries present. We have different perspectives on the industry, but we all have common problems, and the ideas that come together from our meetings are absolutely very constructive and help us really push the industry forward at a global level. Our vision is to make the industry more sustainable in every sense, and our mission is to actually do that through meetings around the world. And we have been very successful in doing that. The last meeting just in the last 2 days was here in Cordoba. And you can see from the photograph how enthusiastic everybody was. It was an extremely successful meeting. We had presence from all over Europe, many different countries present, about 10 countries. Then we had North America, Central America, South America, China, with presentations from India, from New Zealand, Australia, and so it's an incredibly wide presence that we have in our GAIN meeting, and all contribute their various ideas and perspectives. We also hold virtual meetings every 1 or 2 months, and they bring together everybody again around the world. We focus on a single topic, a very short meeting of just about an hour, and it's amazing the exchanges of ideas and best practice that occur. It's quite a challenge across a time zone of 19 hours to get everybody together, but the numbers that come together really demonstrates how positive our group is. To look at some figures of global aggregates production, on the left is a chart that summarizes our best estimates of production for 2025. China is the biggest at 14.5 billion tons, followed by India at 6.4, Europe at 2.8, USA about 2.1, and it goes on down through the other members. And those four, you can see on the pie chart that China is still by far the biggest. It's about 38% of the global total, whereas India follows next at about 17%, then Europe at 7%, USA at 5%. Those top four countries represent about 67% of the global aggregates production. If you add in all the other GAIN members, you come to about 75% of the global aggregates production, and just about 15 is all the other countries of the world, for which we estimate based on their population and typical use of aggregates per capita. It's amazing when you look at the graph of the last 7 years of global aggregates production. It has declined from 44 billion tons in 2019 to about 38.6 billion tons in 2025 is our best estimate. And it's amazing, the initial downturn happened in 2020 with the COVID. We lost about 2 billion tons globally. And in 2021, there was a slight recovery as countries tried to stimulate growth again. And then it declined further over the following years, mainly due to drop in Chinese production. That's a little complicated, but it illustrates for each country, taking 2019 as 100, how their production has varied over the last 7 years. You can see China's dropped about 25%, Europe by about 12%, US by 6%, USA down by 11%, and the world down by minus 12%. So it's not a good situation. Overall production global is declining. And those figures give the tons per capita. It's up 10 tons per capita for China, Canada, somewhat less for other developed regions. But on the other side of the graph, you've got the developing countries, and you can see how low their tons per capita is, right down to less than 2 tons per capita. And even the latest figure for Argentina, believe it or not, is only 0.7 tons per capita. So there really is a big divide amongst the countries of the world. And if we could only stimulate growth in the developing regions, then there would be a much bigger global total production of aggregates. Infrastructure, huge projects going ahead in many parts of Asia. And where there is economic confidence, these things can happen, driven by increasing population, increasing urbanization, and as well adaptation to climate change. So those factors, can we make them happen in other countries? That's the big question. We have in Western Europe a huge need for renovation of all kinds of roads, bridges, and everything. So there are really positive drivers there to require greater production of aggregates. And that, I think, is where we as an industry can really try to promote that and promote the benefits of a stronger aggregates and concrete industry. Some particular points that came up during the meeting: New Zealand has done a great job in convincing of the importance of aggregates, and now aggregates and sand are on their list of critical materials. The same is happening in Europe and many other countries. Access to resources is absolutely key to the future. The latest technology, now we look at China, there's been an explosive growth in their industry driven by the latest technical developments. And the pictures tell the story. How modern are their plants? And they have gone up in size. You can get 6 million ton plants, 8 million tons, or if you really, really want the XL size, you go for a 30 million ton plant. Not relevant to Europe perhaps, but at least it shows the way the technology is going. As well, in the use of artificial intelligence and in digitalization, the Chinese are really pushing ahead, and they have now quarries fully autonomous with trucks, dumpers, everything working on a completely automatic system. Again, China and other countries are pushing forward very strongly on renewable power and use of artificial intelligence to optimize everything. And the Digi Eco Quarry here, promoted by Federación de Áridos as part of European aggregates, has done a great job in really moving the industry forward into the modern age. Recycling is something that is growing, and now it has the increased potential, we have learned, for actually absorbing carbon from the atmosphere, as well as feeding some of its decarbonated products back into the cement process. So it's really, recycling has great potential and even greater commercial potential in the future. We are looking very much towards being even more sustainable in our restoration, in water management, reduction of water usage, and biodiversity is a huge strength of our industry because we can create habitats, environments in our quarry that exist nowhere. And I think, the work again being done here by the Federación de Áridos is really strengthening, and you can be very proud of the work that is being done in leading Europe in that direction. And equally, for example, Aggregates Europe is now formally signed up to an agreement with IUCN. So it just shows how much the industry is really moving forward on sustainability. We identified that skills and training is really important, and delighted to see in Spain that it's now happening, as well as New Zealand, Malaysia, all the other countries. So it's really important that we grow, show our industry to be a good place to work, a good future employer, and we are representing really a great sector, and we must produce a better image so that people will be really happy to join our industry and benefit from being there. We have, our industry very much has to campaign to lobby for strength, permission to do things, and we can present such a good story if we only get our act better together. And we can show our quarries to the outside world. Our friends from Malaysia have an excellent, what they call, quarry tourism program, that they actually invite in neighbours and tell them the good story. And I think that is something we can emulate. And just as we have to, for example, in Canada, explain to the indigenous peoples what our industry is about. So we really have to make ourselves friendly, even more friendly and more respecting of the outside world. We keep moving forward in terms of increasing the membership of GAIN. We were recently in India. They are in the process of forming an association. So really, they can help us, and we learn from them of the difficulties of their industry and how we can even improve for them and we can learn from them. And it's just amazing how much synergy comes from the different members of GAIN. You know, we are moving forward in a very constructive way. We are doing all the right things in sustainability. We are promoting our industry. We can do that even more strongly, I believe, in the future. We can, as the guy in the picture made the point, you know, we can shine as an industry. And really, we learn, and starting even at the most basic level, our industry is a very local one. We can share and work together is the important issue. At a regional level, first here in Spain, then at a national level, and then at a European level and at a global level. So we can really move forward very strongly together and work in a very sustainable way and really create an even better industry. And we can work together with the concrete and with the cement sectors, and thereby really promote the use of building materials, sustainable building materials, and even further improve our well-being. So I thank Federación de Áridos and Arrigal, Arrival, and EFA and Grado for hosting us here. It's been a wonderful meeting. We had tremendous synergies. I'm sorry the time is so short to actually summarize it, but you know, we thank you so much for inviting us here, and thank you for your friendly hospitality, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Lo que todos sabemos, y después de esta presentación nos ha quedado más claro, es que cuando aparece un problema en el lugar más remoto del mundo, termina siendo un problema de todos, por lo que el papel del GAIN como alerta temprana y como un lugar donde compartir soluciones es fundamental, y sobre todo lo que es más impagable es el trabajo del señor O'Brien de una forma desinteresada 100% como presidente y como motor. Vamos a continuar. Invito a Mr. Antonis Antoniou Latouros a hacernos la presentación, el Roadmap 2030 de Aggregates Europe en el contexto del Pacto Industrial Limpio. Un fuerte aplauso para él.
First of all, I need to thank FDA and our colleagues from Spain, President Alberto, César, for inviting us to be here. It's really a big honor to be here with you because we consider Spanish aggregates industry as one of the strongest we have in Europe, but most importantly, you are one of the most respected we have in Europe. Why? Because you show the way. You show the way for sustainability, you show the way for innovation, for responsibility, for circularity. And of course, you are also very respected and very thankful because you are also one of the most active associations we have as members. You send many experts, colleagues. Of course, we have Spanish representation on our board, but you send many experts to all our committees, task forces, work groups, and they bring very valuable expertise and information and experience, of course, to Aggregates Europe, something which we need very much. And I will go through the Aggregates Europe roadmap 2030, something which we started back in 2020. So now we are halfway of this roadmap. So let's see where are we and what maybe we need to do from now on. So the roadmap, as I said, was ready 2020, but officially it was launched on September 2021 due to COVID, of course. And our main central question was, what must our industry do to support Europe's green and digital transition to climate neutrality by 2050. And in this roadmap, of course, we promised sustainability, we promised biodiversity, we promised circularity, climate neutrality, safe workplaces, and community value. This roadmap, of course, it was ambitious, it is still ambitious, but it reflects, of course, the essential role of our sector. Now, since then, the world came upside down, as you know. We faced COVID and supply chain disruption. We saw a new European Commission and the birth of the Green Deal and the Clean Industrial Deal. Then we had raw materials now at a very central and political debate through the Critical Raw Materials Act. We have a new USA administration, as we call the Trump re-entry. And of course, globally, we see the two giants, USA and China, competing each other, who is going to be the leader, industrial leader. And it's better not wait for Europe, to be the third part. We are also giants, and we have to prove it. Like there is a saying which says, USA innovates, China innovates, but applicates, and Europe regulates. So we have to do something on this. Now, the roadmap pillars was structured, actually the roadmap was structured on around 6 pillars. It was climate neutrality and adaptation, circular economy and recycling, biodiversity net gain, safe and healthy workplaces, community engagement, and a level playing field. And let us now see each one of these pillars, where are we and what we have managed. Regarding the progress on climate neutrality, our CO2 footprint is very low. We know it. We have already our roadmap for climate neutrality, and I want here to thank César because he put too much on this roadmap, personally, but also his team put a lot in order to come up with this roadmap. We have made the progress on electrification pilots, renewable energy use, and better efficiency, but there are barriers, of course. Low carbon machinery is not yet affordable by SMEs. And anyway, we don't have yet machinery available, electrified machinery, earth-moving machinery in order to use. And let's be realistic. We will need huge investments, and it will take time in order to replace our existing fleet, diesel engine fleet, with electrified machinery fleet. And then the question is, what are we going to do with our existing machinery? Are we going to send them to Africa? Then progress on circular economy. We are circularity by definition. Recycling is already part of our business model. We have recycling rates are continually increasing. Construction and demolition waste recovery is advancing, but yet the numbers prove it, and we need to use these factual numbers in order to communicate it outside. Recycling will never, ever be enough. Now we are on average in Europe around 10% substitution with recycled materials. Numbers show that maximum, the ceiling will be 20%. And this, of course, it will take time until we reach more than 20%. So we will always rely, for our needs, 80%, we will always rely on primary aggregates. And this we have to communicate out because there are people, countries, politicians, policymakers that they believe that we can do everything with recycling, and this is not the case. Then progress on biodiversity. There are hundreds of case studies across Europe which show that our quarries are places where biodiversity is enhanced. We have net gain of biodiversity, and this is of course recognized by our partners, NGOs, and we will talk about them later. But challenges remain. For example, the new nature restoration law must recognize that our contribution, must recognize us as a contribution rather than restrict access to the very resources needed for Europe's future. Now, progress on workforce safety and social role. On safety, we are improving, of course. Fatalities are down, and it must be zero anyway, but anyway, fatalities are down. Culture, of course, is stronger. within the quarries. People start to realize that we have to take care about health and safety. Our silica task, NEPSTI, is delivering the result, yet our workforce is aging, unfortunately, and we must attract women and young people. And of course, still will remain as a pillar of local employment and community value across Europe. So now, where we are on track, let's be clear. We are recognized as essential and strategic. I think people and communities start to understand on this. We are making progress on recycling and biodiversity. Everybody recognizes. We have strengthened our political voice in Brussels and beyond this. We have our team in Brussels, which is working very closely. Our offices are very close to the Parliament and the European Commission, and they are lobbying every day. And thank God we have them there instead of sitting in our countries and just wait what will be sent from Brussels. And of course, we came much closer and have a very close collaboration with the NGOs, the big international environmental organizations. Actually, last week I was with my colleague Miguel in Abu Dhabi at the IUCN World Congress. It's the largest environmental congress taking place on this planet every 4 years, more than 10,000 visitors from more than 880 countries. And while going there with Miguel, we were feeling like we were going in the dragon's den. Why? Because these people, they want to make sure our operations are done responsibly and sustainably. But when we went there, we didn't feel this because we were invited by them. They know that we are responsible and sustainable, and we were invited by them and they gave us the floor in order to tell our story because they want to listen what we are doing, and they want to cooperate with us further. And of course, there are things that we are lacking, and we need to admit on this. Permitting is our #1 bottleneck. Low carbon machinery is not yet market ready, as we already said. And uneven enforcement of the EU law creates unfair competition. There are countries that face this problem, and it's a very big problem. Illegal extractions. And of course, public perception is still weak. The NIMBY effect is strong, and everyone needs to understand that quarries need to operate where nature and geology put the good quality stone. This is something we need to communicate, and we have to invest on communication. Now, on top of this, new pressures have emerged. Of course, we have the Nature Restoration Law, the Net Zero Industry Act, the Critical Raw Materials Act, and above all, Europe's urgent need for climate adaptation. We will need dikes, flood protection, resilient infrastructure, and all this while the global competition, as I said before, intensifies. And so, let's say the €1 million question is, do we need to refocus somewhere? We are halfway of our roadmap, and of course the roadmap remains valid, but emphasis is required on we must secure permitting and access to local resources. We need to act yesterday. We must fast-track low-carbon technologies if we want to be carbon neutral by 2050. And we must gain stronger recognition in EU sustainable finance. We are sustainable, so they have to respect it and consider us part of this. And we must invest in public awareness campaigns. And I will never get tired saying that invest in communication. It's an investment. It's not a cost communication. So we have a very nice story to tell, and we need to invest to tell it more and more and more so many people hear what we are saying. And now, what new objectives? Looking ahead, we should consider adding new objectives to update, let's say, our roadmap. One thing could be making measurable contribution to climate adaptation. Another thing is positioning aggregates as part of Europe's strategic autonomy. They consider us as, they say, aggregates are everywhere, they take us as granted. But this is not the case. They have to consider us as strategic for Europe's autonomy. This is very important. Setting biodiversity indicators align with EU targets. And of course, developing skills strategy for a green and digital workforce if we want to come neutral by 2050, of course. And our core message to policymakers and society is very simple. Aggregates are sustainable, are essential and strategic. We are halfway to 2030. Progress is real, but it is fragile. And as we said also when we had politicians in our office during our late summer reception last month, we said to them that we as industry have completed our part. We became sustainable, we became responsible. So now it's time for the politicians and the policymakers to do their part in order to enable access and simplify permitting and enforce the regulation and the rules across Europe in order not to have illegal extractions, as we said. So we need to act now before it is too late. When it is too late, it will be difficult to react, of course. And in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, aggregates, I can say, is the foundation of Europe's sustainability future. Without us, there is no Green Deal, there is no resilient infrastructure, there is no affordable housing, there will be literally nothing around us, not even a shelter over our heads. Thank you very much, and again, thank you for inviting us, and again, thank you, FDA, for the collaboration, President Alberto. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Está claro que Aggregates Europe es una pieza clave para que la industria de los áridos en Europa mantenga su importantísimo papel. El punto final lo pone César Luaces Frades, que nos va a hablar del grado de avance de Áridos 2030. Mirad qué rápido va, a él del tiempo no le tengo que decir nada. Un fuerte aplauso para él.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Noelia. Ya me toca empezar a hablar cuando debería estar acabando, así que voy a tener que ser súper rápido. Bueno, tengo que hacer un balance del grado de avance de Áridos 2030 y podría empezar por el final. Como ha dicho también Antonis, la estrategia UPG está en línea con lo que se espera del sector de los áridos en Europa. En nuestro caso, nuestros Áridos 2030, presentados en el Congreso pasado, también van en línea. También quiero hacer un balance 2022-2025. ¿Qué teníamos en 2022? Pues básicamente, como yo digo, esto es como en la Guerra de las Galaxias, en este caso el imperio del Green Deal. Medio ambiente, prioridad número 1 en la Unión Europea, prevención del cambio climático ante todo y todo supeditado a este medio ambiente. Materias primas completamente arrinconadas y fuera de la agenda política europea y afortunadamente en España un peldaño por encima porque estábamos ya hablando de la hoja de ruta para la gestión sostenible. Gracias, por cierto, a la acción de todos juntos vía Primigea. Y esto nos llevaba además a un acceso a los recursos en toda Europa y en España cada vez más restringido. Y luego todas las incertidumbres post-COVID, porque el plan lo escribimos durante el COVID. ¿Qué ha pasado desde entonces? Pues han pasado 3 años, parece que ha sido poco, pero parece que ha pasado un diluvio. Tenemos un contexto geopolítico complejísimo, la invasión rusa de Ucrania ha tenido un impacto tremendo en todas partes, fundamentalmente la crisis de costes, los problemas energéticos y otros, las guerras comerciales y arancelarias que se están abriendo, la radicalización política que al final está carcomiendo todo como un virus por toda Europa y también por España, porque al final lo que estamos consiguiendo es no llegar a ningún acuerdo sobre ninguna decisión estratégica vital que deba tomarse y ya está bien de que esto pues sea el pan nuestro de cada día cuando realmente todos los partidos políticos, y perdón que lo diga así, deberían alinearse en el interés de los ciudadanos para progresar y generar políticas de Estado estables. ¿Esto a qué nos ha llevado? Otro segundo gran bloque, las materias primas minerales en el centro del escenario político mundial y europeo. Y pongo español porque aunque me constan los esfuerzos que hacen muchas autoridades mineras autonómicas y una parte importante del MITER, seguimos sin tener nuestro plan de acción de la hoja de ruta aprobado ni todos los documentos que nos pasaron a consulta pública ahora mismo están durmiendo el sueño de los justos. Entonces, sorprendentemente, en 2022 íbamos un paso por delante y ahora empezamos a ir 2 pasos por detrás como país. El Critical Raw Materials Act, por otro lado, pues está apostando por la autonomía estratégica de Europa, pero por otro lado, volviendo al punto anterior, pues empezamos a ir un poquito más despacio de lo que deberíamos ir en España. La hoja de ruta la tenemos ya aprobada por el Consejo de Ministros. En 2022, cuando presentamos la estrategia, iba a ser aprobada en agosto. Afortunadamente, se cumplió milimétricamente. Y ahora mismo un pilar que empieza a consolidarse pues es que varias comunidades autónomas, entre ellas Andalucía, pues están desarrollando sus estrategias autonómicas en minería y también empieza a haber muchas comunidades autónomas que están aplicando y desarrollando estrategias industriales y al final nosotros somos la base de todas las estrategias industriales. Como todo el mundo ha descubierto, incluso la Unión Europea, que siempre cuento la misma broma, el día anterior a la pandemia se publicó la Estrategia Industrial Europea donde no existían ni las materias primas, ni los áridos, ni las minas, ni las canteras y unos pocos meses después de la pandemia tuvieron que hacer la Estrategia Industrial Europea renovada, los mismos expertos, pero esta vez las materias primas eran el pilar número 2. O sea, maravilloso descubrimiento pagado por el sueldo de todos los ciudadanos europeos. Y tenemos aquí además la oportunidad de la Ley de Industria y Autonomía Estratégica, que es una oportunidad, pero que nuevamente, volviendo al bloqueo institucional, está ahora mismo bloqueada en el Parlamento y esto es de mérito de todos los que están allí sentados, no de los que la promueven, sino de todos en conjunto. Pero además no abandona Europa el impulso medioambiental del Green Deal, sigue ahí, no ha desaparecido, pero lo está intentando modular. ¿Qué ocurre? Pues que el Green Deal pues es como un tren expreso en mercancías y ahora hay que ajustarlo a lo que voy a contar en la siguiente diapositiva. Estamos hablando de Ley de Restauración de la Naturaleza, que se ha aprobado y está empezando a hacer sentir sus efectos en el territorio europeo. Tenemos la Directiva de Vigilancia del Suelo, que está ahora mismo a punto de caramelo. De hecho, solo hay un Estado miembro que se haya posicionado en contra, que es Alemania. Por algo será. Y luego, por ejemplo, este verano pues tenemos la Estrategia Europea de Resiliencia Hídrica, que como yo siempre cuento, algo nos va a tocar. Y luego tenemos la gran estrella de la función, que es el Clean Industrial Deal, el Pacto Industrial Limpio, que se ha aprobado en el mes de febrero de este año, con todos los cambios políticos que ha habido en Europa. La prioridad del Clean Industrial Deal es competitividad y reindustrialización y, claro, aquí el efecto tiene que ser de contrapeso del Green Deal. Es decir, tiene que reequilibrar la balanza, no dejar de lado los objetivos iniciales del Green Deal, pero desde luego tiene que colocar al mismo nivel de prioridad la competitividad y la reindustrialización si no queremos que Europa pase de potencia mundial de primer nivel a cuarta división en un par de décadas o 3. Y esto nos lleva a un punto que luego trataremos en la reunión con los directores generales, que es la simplificación administrativa y condiciones marco favorables para las empresas. No porque lo digamos nosotros, sino porque lo dice Europa. Porque Europa se ha dado cuenta de que estamos construyendo una maraña legislativa de tantas capas que o eso se resuelve o Europa está absolutamente fuera de juego. Antes nos hablaban el representante del sector del cemento del problema de competitividad que está inducido en Europa precisamente por toda la superposición de capas normativas. Tenemos que resolver los retos de competitividad, la energía asequible, forma parte de uno de los ejes del Clean Industrial Deal, las materias primas, la inversión en talento joven, relevo generacional, etcétera, y desde luego también hay que prevenir las nuevas crisis inflacionarias que parece que se nos han olvidado, pero están a la vuelta de la esquina en cuanto algún actor importante haga un pequeño movimiento. Entonces la pregunta es, ¿responde Áridos 2030, que lo sacamos hace 3 años, a los nuevos retos? Bueno, pues no me da tiempo a hablar de los objetivos sectoriales, pero los voy a enumerar. Rentabilidad, sí, parece que está en línea. Sostenibilidad, también. Adaptarse a la demanda, también. Competitividad, es justo el mantra que toca ahora. ¿Ser más eficiente? Pues obviamente también. Contribuir a los ODS, aquí están. Ser mejor aceptado por los ciudadanos, creo que tenemos un montón de líneas de acción lanzadas. Colaborar activamente con las administraciones. La prueba de ello es que aquí hay montones de representantes de las administraciones. Cambio climático, ya ha estado hablando el presidente de UEPG, de Aggregates Europe, perdón, de la cuestión. Cohesión sectorial, aquí estamos más de 1000 personas. Reducir la competencia desleal, ya lo ha dicho antes alguno de los intervinientes en la mesa anterior, y mejora de la gestión administrativa para el acceso a los recursos. Y, por lo tanto, nuestro plan, que tenía 6 ejes, 33 líneas, 150 acciones, y como yo sabía que iba a ser el último hablando y entonces no iba a poderlo contar en detalle, pues ya me he hecho una presentación más cortita para ir a los ejes estratégicos, que son 6 y que siguen vivos y siguen ahí. Liderazgo en sostenibilidad ambiental, incremento de rentabilidad de las empresas, mejora de la imagen, reputación, RSC y dimensión sectorial, desarrollo de la innovación y diversificación, mejora del entorno competitivo sectorial e impulso de la cohesión sectorial. Esta me la salto porque no me da tiempo, pero aquí están todas las líneas y como al final de mi presentación hay un QR para que el que no haya visto el plan pues se lo pueda descargar. Decir que también hicimos, entre comillas, un poquito de trampa cuando hicimos nuestro plan, porque nuestro plan casi fue literalmente coetáneo de la hoja de ruta y obviamente no podíamos hacer un plan que no estuviera alineado con la hoja de ruta para la gestión sostenible de las materias primas, ni viceversa. Y como por otro lado habíamos tenido el Roadmap 2030, perdón porque se me ha descuadrado aquí un texto, que había sido publicado unos meses antes, pero que además nosotros habíamos tenido implicación directa, pues obviamente teníamos una alineación perfecta con ambos documentos. ¿Y esto dónde nos lleva? Y ya prácticamente acabo, pues que hemos hecho, yo estoy haciendo un seguimiento de todas esas acciones, cómo las llevamos, por dónde van, y podemos decir que tenemos 34 terminadas, o sea, un 23%, iniciadas en ejecución, la mayoría, porque son acciones que empiezan y nunca acaban, entonces esas acabará el plan y seguirán ahí lanzadas. Planificadas no iniciadas, 11, y no iniciadas, 8, alguna de ellas vinculada a que faltan cosas por aprobarse, tipo el plan de acción de la hoja de ruta. Y por otro lado, pues viendo cómo están las acciones, y lo digo porque he intentado simplificar en una diapositiva cómo está todo, pues no requieren modificación importante, 140, o sea, prácticamente el 93%, ajustes menores 7, o sea, un 5%, a suprimir no hay ninguna, tenemos que incorporar nuevas acciones, en parte alguna de las que ha mencionado el presidente de Aggregates Europe, y ajustes importantes tenemos que hacerle a 3 acciones. O sea que podemos decir que en general lo que teníamos nos vale, con pequeños ajustes, y bueno, por supuesto el plan no es un libro escrito en piedra, sino que es un documento vivo para ir adaptándolo. Entonces yo acabo aquí, tenemos un plan, y ese plan se llama Áridos 2030 y por lo tanto tenemos que seguir perseverando en lo que nos decía. Y por acabar, aquí tenéis el QR, porque el que no lo tenga, pues aprovecha y se lo descarga. Está en la web de la Federación. Y aquí acabo. Muy bien. Y yo creo que ya...
Casi 4 minutos hemos recuperado, César, casi 4 minutos. Muchas gracias. Pues con estas palabras ponemos punto final a esta segunda mesa plenaria.